Let everybody say, yeah. Man, let's go, let's go. Come on, say, yeah. Everybody in the house say, we invite you, Lord, in this place. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Dear God, I give you all the honor.
God bless you, my friend. God bless you, my friend. Welcome again tonight to another edition of Monday's Meal. I am your host tonight, Dr. Ray Johnson. I'm so glad that you guys are taking time just to tune in with me for a little bit. It is another month here in the month of July, and I am glad to be with you on this evening, hopefully and trusting that tonight's Monday's Meal is going to be a whole lot better. Let me just kind of fix myself and pull myself together here for us on this evening, on tonight. Tonight's Monday's Meal is going to be an insightful time tonight because we are entering into a new series this month, in the month of August, and we're talking about the crossing. That's right, we're talking about the crossing, and we've been using as a backdrop, if you will, a good quick look at Israel as they come through the promised land and they move from the wilderness over into the land of Canaan. And if you know, like I know, crossing over into different spaces and moments can often be a difficult time and a difficult task. And it can become really a moment that can confuse us and cause many of us to find ourselves in some difficult spaces and moments of how we navigate that season and that space and time. And even before I get into all of that on tonight, I want to share something with you on tonight and remind all of the Walk of Dominion that coming up on this week on Friday night, Friday night is Bowling with the Bishop. That's right. Bowling with the Bishop taking place on this Friday night here in the Walk of Dominion. And if you have not taken time to actually go and register, you can do this at dow.church. Make sure you go there as soon as you can to be able to register. It is just simply $10 per person. That's right. It's just simply $10 a person. And I want you to consider joining me and meeting me at Spare Times, I should say, this Friday night, 6:30 to about 8:30. All you can do in terms of bowling. We'll have several teams that will be put together. And if you would just simply go to dow.church, look for the flyer here that you see on the screen, Bowling with the Bishop, and we'll be sure to make sure that we get you registered so that you can participate. I'm looking forward to some time of fellowship and some fun and some food with you. We'll have pizza that we'll have engaged and involved with on that night. Kids will be able to participate in the arcades. It's going to be a fun time and a very, very powerful time. So tonight, I want to go right on ahead and get right into tonight's study on night. And as you already heard me say, finding a way to navigate through the complexity of transitions can be tough. And it requires what I say a discipline. It requires the discipline, the development of trust, and a determination to make it to the other side. Many times, many people don't make it to the other side of their life experience. And so I want you to know that it requires that if you're going to be able to see your way through and to make it to the other side and the experience of the life that you find yourself in the present moment where you are right now. And so if one thing is critically important in this, if one is going, if you will, to navigate through the difficult space, a few critical keys are required. And I want to jump right on into this tonight. Tonight, we're going to spend our time talking about navigating the crossing daily. What does it look like to navigate from one space to the next space daily in our lives? What does that look like for each and every one of us? And it requires something different from all of us. One thing each and every one of us have got to have is this first one right here. We have to have focus. That's right. We have to have focus. We have to be a people that focuses on the presence of God more than the plan and the promise of God. Can I say that one more time? We've got to be a people who focus on the presence of God more than the plan and the promises of God. All too often, so many of us, we focus on being able to get from one place in space and time to the next space and place in time as if the destination is what's most important. And really, with God, what's important to God in terms of navigating us through is we've got to focus on his presence. Without his presence, we won't be able to navigate through any of that. Somebody type that in for me tonight, presence. Put that in the chat real quick, presence. That's what's most important. See, the children of Israel, they were told by Joshua, when you see the Ark of the Covenant, which represents the presence of God going before you, you shall remain 2,000 cubits behind it. In other words, there should be some distance between many of us. We can get real familiar with the process of transitioning where we go from one place to the next. And with God, you can never get familiar because he never does things the same way. I know that we read the scripture over in Corinthians where Paul says, I became all things to all men that I might win some. But that doesn't give us a good glimpse of an understanding of how God navigates things differently for each and every one of us. And so your process is going to be your process, where my process is going to be my process. But here's the key. Each and every one of us are going to have some process. Good to see Sister Tia tuning in on tonight. Good to see Mother Mary and Teresa. God bless you. Thank you for being with me on tonight. Come on, let me move to the next one. And let me just remind us again that we're spending time tonight talking about navigating the crossing of our experiences daily. We've got to be able to find a way to be able to get from one side of our experience to the next one. And one of the first one requires for us is that one called focus. It gets real easy to get distracted when things get tough in our lives. And what I want to say to us tonight is focus is critically important. Don't allow distractions. Don't allow discouragement. Don't allow difficulties. Don't allow situations that can cause distress to disrupt what God's plan and flow is for you. Here's one that I think is really, really important. If you don't get nothing else from me tonight, get this one right here. If not only must we focus, but we've got to reframe how we see things. There are going to be setbacks and situations and unfavorable scenarios all along the way. And this requires for us to be a people who reframe our perspectives. It's all about how you see the experience that you have found yourself in from yesteryear today. All too often, too many of us, we spend too much time replaying in our mind's eye what happened to us, who said what took place, what we lost, how this happened, what happened here. And what God wants us to do is to give us a different lens of how we see the experiences that have happened to us all throughout our lives. I brought something tonight that I think coaches may have never been coached. That's not the case with me. I went through a very traumatic experience a few years back, and my own coach had to help me process where I was so that I would see some things a little bit differently. I want you just for a few minutes, if you will, I want you to stay tuned in with me. I want you to take a quick look at this. Matter of fact, I can always show you better than I can tell you.
This is not about necessarily what you do, it's how you see it. Right. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Because what you're dealing with is truth. Right. I mean, the situation is what it is, right. But you can't.
My goodness. He says the only way that you can really win, let me see if I can try it again.
Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Because what you're dealing with is truth. I mean, the situation is what it is, but you can't change the circumstances particularly. It is what it is. Right. So now the only way you can really win is to change how you view it. Right. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, because I think what I'm learning from you is that when people say perception is reality, I oftentimes had a hard time dealing with that statement because it depends upon which angle, which side you're looking at the reality from. So like this book has got 4 sides to it.
Yeah.
But depending what your position is what you're going to see from the book.
Yeah.
And so if you change the perspective, the book is still the same.
Yeah.
But you see it from a different angle.
And it's at the end of the day, it's still the book. It's still true.
It's still truth.
So whether it's your co-parenting,
Right.
whether it's parenting grown.
Man, wow. I've got one more for you. Stay with me. It's coming right back. Let me see if I can pull it back up again.
Necessarily what you do, it's how you see it.
He says truth is still.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Because what you're dealing with is truth. I mean, the situation is what it is.
Right.
But you can't change the circumstances particularly. It is what it is.
Right.
So now the only way you can really win is to change how you view it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, because I think what I'm learning from you is that when people say perception is reality, I oftentimes had a hard time dealing with that statement because it depends upon which angle, which side you're looking at the reality from. So like this book has got 4 sides to it.
Yeah.
But depending what your position is what you're going to see from the book.
Yeah.
And so if you change the perspective, the book is still the same.
Yeah.
But you see it from a different angle.
And it's at the end of the day, it's still the book. It's still true.
It's still truth.
So whether it's your co-parenting,
Right.
whether it's parenting grown.
He says whether it's co-parenting, parenting grown children, no matter what situation was tonight, it all depends on how you see the situation you find yourself in. And so you're going to navigate from one space to the next. If you're going to move from the wilderness to the promised land, you got to have focus. And then number 2, you've got to have a reframing of the current environments that you may find yourself in. And then the very last one, I think is real important. You got to have this one right here. You got to have a sense of what I call follow through. You've got to have a clear sense of follow through. And what follow through is, we're literally talking about how we see where God has us to where he wants to take us. It's about being able to follow the details of the plan that he's got for each and every one of us in our lives. Let me see if I can make that a little bit larger on the screen for you so that you'll be able to see it. Check this out right here. Follow through. Here's where follow through is. We must be willing to work through the details of his plan in our lives. The details have to do with the day by day process of God's plan. Hear what I'm saying? It's the day by day process of God's plan. Not necessarily our plan. It's the one foot in front of the other. It's the consistency that we need in order to be able to navigate getting from the wilderness to the promised land in the moments of transition in your life. That can be starting to go back to school, new business plans and ideas, working on enhancing and improving the relationships, cultivating and developing a new sense of spirituality in your walk with God. I want to encourage you tonight. I hope that this has been helpful for you to be able to navigate the spaces that you may find yourself in, because it is possible to move from the wilderness of your experience and to get to the promised land of your experience. But you've got to be willing to go from one space and place to the other. I hope this has been helpful. I'll see you again. Make sure you wake up with Lady tomorrow at 6 a.m. Don't forget Bowling with the Bishop this coming Friday. Go to dow.church. Make sure you get registered. We'll see you again soon, my friend. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.